when it all goes dark. Will you have what you need to power your world? Hey guys, it's Jara with Wicked Prepared. Thank you for stopping by the channel today. If you're interested in emergency preparedness, which we all should be, and self-sufficiency, then you are in the right place. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications so you can keep up with what's going on with us. Today I want to talk about emergency backup power. It's a good time to be thinking about backup power options and evaluating our systems. September is National Preparedness Month. It's hurricane season. That's something that many people have to think about. And we're also getting closer and closer to winter, and some of us have the possibility of ice storms and blizzards to consider. And across the country and really the civilized world, many people are being asked to cut down their power usage and prepare for the possibility of rolling blackouts and even grid failures. Today I'm going to mainly show you one particular backup power source. Now, we have a gas generator. Well, actually, it's a dual fuel generator that we've had for a while, and I'm very thankful to have that. Now, before I go any further, I do want to say this. I know that generators and power stations are expensive, and I know that a generator of any kind is out of reach for some people, and that's okay. Honestly, having a generator is nice, but I think all of us, no matter what kind of generator we can or can't afford, should prep and plan as if we did not have one at all. Prepare to be able to do things and have things without any kind of power whatsoever. Because while generators are great for short-term situations, you don't want to be dependent on the idea of having one. In a long-term situation, and I think most of us have that in the back of our minds, right? A long-term scenario that now more than ever we need to be prepared for. In a long-term scenario, depending on any kind of generator, especially a gas-powered one, is not really feasible. But like I was saying, we do have a dual fuel generator. Dual fuel is preferable, or there are even tri-fuel generators, but that's preferable for a number of reasons. One of the most important being that a dual fuel generator can run on gasoline or propane. So you just have more options if one type of fuel is more readily available after an emergency occurs, which often is the case. This type of generator has its pros, but it also has cons. Fuel is not easy or safe to store in large quantities, especially gasoline, and it doesn't store well. It will degrade pretty quickly, so you'll need to use a fuel stabilizer and rotate through what you do store pretty quickly. Your homeowner's policy may place limitations on how much you can store, and it's expensive to buy. So while we feel good having our dual fuel generator, there was an important piece missing in our backup power plan. We've really been wanting to add a solar generator to our preps, and we recently were able to do that. Now, we got this solar generator here. This would be more accurately called, I guess, a portable power station with solar panels. This unit here is not a generator. It doesn't generate any power itself. It's basically a big battery that stores power and doles it out as you need it. Now, this type of power station has some distinct advantages over a gas generator. Number one, it doesn't require fuel, which is a consumable and expensive resource. Secondly, it can be brought inside your home and used inside your home. It puts out no emissions. You couldn't do this with a gas-powered generator. In fact, some people have even died from using a gas generator outside their home if it was too close or located in such a way that the carbon monoxide was able to get inside the home. And a third big benefit that these have over gas generators is that they are virtually silent to operate. There may be a very low fan sound at times, but basically these power stations are not going to announce to the neighborhood that you have a generator and that you may be better off than many other folks out there and basically put a big target on your back. So they're much better for your OPSEC. Now this one here is an Opus portable power station. Opus is the brand. Now, in the interest of full disclosure here, the folks at Opus were kind enough to send us this unit so that we could try it out and let all of our viewers know what we think of it. But if it makes any difference to you, we had approached them first because knowing that we wanted to add a unit like this to our gear, we had actually heard a lot of really good things about this brand, especially in terms of being one that was a little easier on the budget than some of the more well-known brands. We heard that these were really, really good quality. So Opus sent us this unit, and it showed up right before the camping trip that we just took a couple of weeks ago, so that gave us the perfect opportunity to try it out. Now this is their 1200 watt unit, so it's kind of a mid-range unit. Opus does have larger units. They have an 1800, and I believe they just came out with a 2400, which is twice the capacity of this one here. Of course, when you go up in capacity, you also go up in size and weight, so that's something that you'll have to consider. This unit here has these three AC outlets on this side, and over here it has the automobile auxiliary outlet, a couple of these little outlets. It's got some USB-C outlets, and then it's got the regular USB outlets. This is a pretty simple unit. I honestly had no trouble figuring this out, which is pretty awesome. This is the power button right here. You just push and hold, and it powers it on. And this is the input. So this is where you would charge it with the solar panels. They did send us 200-watt solar panels, which was really awesome of them. And it comes with a splitter type of cord that you can plug them both into this output. So you charge with both of them at the same time. And using both of those solar panels, you should expect to be able to charge this unit fully in about, I believe, 8 hours is what they say. And when we got it, it was about this charge. It was about 3/4 charged, and we were able to fully charge it in 2 hours. So that fit into those expectations. Now, to turn either one of these type of outlets on so that you can use them, you just push the button on that side. So you can heard the fan run just for a second maybe. And you turn this on, and that's going to turn on the outlets on this side. I really like the screen that it has. It's going to tell you what percent the battery's at. When you actually have something plugged in and you're running it, it's going to tell you about how long you can continue to run with the power that you're withdrawing from it at that moment. And it also, when you plug the panels into charge, it lights up over here and it tells you, what kind of watts you're getting into the unit and how long it's going to take to fully charge. And it was very accurate from everything that we found out testing this. Now, the screen does go off pretty quickly. If you're not actually, actively using it, you can see that the power button is still lit up, and that's how I know that it's still on. But the screen will power down to make sure that it doesn't use any extra power than what it needs to. So if you turn this around, it's not super light. I'm going to say it probably weighs about 25 pounds. But if you turn it around, it has this light here. And this is actually super duper bright. I don't know if you can tell right now how bright that is. That was actually the lower setting, and this is the brighter setting. And then, of course, it has an SOS flashing mode, and then off. I think I'm going to actually turn the lights off and see if I can get it a little bit darker in here to really demonstrate how bright this light really is. All right, now it's not super dark in here because it is still daytime outside. I have some curtains over the windows, but it's not super dark, but you can see that really, really lights up. Now, like I said, the battery input is right here. So this is where you would charge the unit. And we have the 2 solar panels for charging it, but it also comes with cables to charge this from your regular wall outlet and from your vehicle power outlet. So let's talk about the battery power. The Opus has a lithium iron phosphate battery. Now, this is the safest, most stable, and most reliable lithium battery. It's non-toxic, it won't leak, and it can be recycled. It doesn't heat up, and it can't catch fire, unlike some other battery types. Most importantly, it has a life cycle that's over 4 times that of other lithium-ion batteries. This unit here is good for over 2,500 charge cycles, meaning that you could charge it up fully and fully discharge it at least 2,500 times before you would have a significant loss of battery capacity. And this doesn't mean that the battery would be completely dead after that many cycles. It just means that you would start to lose some of the charging capacity. It wouldn't go as long before needing a recharge. It would die more quickly than when it was new, similar to how your cell phone battery gets when it gets older. But honestly, guys, if you do the math, because I love to do the math, that's almost 7 years of use if you were to charge and discharge this every single day. That's impressive. Another quality that these batteries have is that they can reach 100% depth of discharge, meaning you can use them longer on each use because you don't have to worry about over discharging your battery. These are some of the reasons that this is a highly sought after battery type. There is one negative I found with this type of battery, but I'll talk about that a little bit later, so stay tuned. So these are the solar panels. We've got 2 of these. These are 100-watt solar panels, and they come nice and folded up. They're nice and thin, and you can just unfold them and set them up. And they've got a zipper pocket in the back that holds the charging cords and everything. So these are pretty long panels when they're all opened up. And they do have loops on the bottoms and grommets up here on the top that you can use for hanging or positioning them. And then on the back you can see they've got little supports that you can prop them up with. All right, so that's both of the panels all laid out. And these cables are pretty long, so you can really position this however you need to and still be able to reach this to the unit. See, pretty long. We've got the splitter cord there, and we can use that to connect both of these panels to the Opus unit. And there's that fan just for a second. I think we can see that. So it's at 71% charge, and so right now we've got a good amount of cloud cover. I don't know if you can see that very well, but good amount of cloud cover. So right now it's only got about 32 watts going in, 33, so 34, 35, it's going up. So what we did to make sure that both panels are working is just unplugging one of the panels, and you can see that it cuts that right down about in half. So they're definitely both charging. It is going up as the sun gets stronger. It's coming out from behind the clouds. And the cool thing about this is it is pretty responsive. It does pretty much change in real time with the changing conditions. I don't know if you can see that, but just from angling the table a little bit differently, we got quite a bit more charge going in, and the sun is still behind the clouds a little bit. So we've got a little fan here. We're just going to plug in and show how this all works. So this is with the fan on low. Now this is saying 99 hours this is going to run, but this doesn't actually go past 99, so it's basically saying it would go forever because we're putting in more power at this point than we're taking out of it. Put the fan up to high speed. So the top number here is the amount of watts that this is drawing out versus the amount of watts that are going in right now. Alright, so now we have got a heat gun here that we're going to try plugging in and just see. So we're going to use the heat gun to basically try to draw out more power than what we're putting into it and see what goes on now. It's plugged in and now it's on. So you can see, wow, that's going way up on the amps that are coming out. It's still saying that this is going to run for, oh, now we got down to 2 hours. Alright, so this is running the heat gun on low without the fan. Alright, so that seems to be right about where it's set. I think we could run this heat gun for about an hour with the panels plugged in and about 70% battery. So this unit does support pass-through charging, which means that you can be simultaneously putting power into it and charging off of it or taking power out of it. So that's definitely a good thing that you can use it and charge it at the same time. Now obviously if you don't have a place to prop it up the way that we did, like the picnic table, you can also use the grommets at the top to hang it, and it has the loops down at the bottom also that you could use to secure it. You obviously would want to have it secured a little bit better than what we do right here if you're going to actually be doing this for any period of time, but we're just showing you this option. Now the conditions are not great right now for charging because it is later in the afternoon and the sun, like I said, is behind the cloud cover pretty well, but when we had it in more bright sunshine, it was very sunny and not a lot of cloud cover. We got this up to about 140, probably around 135, 145, I can't remember exactly the highest watts that we had going in. But like I said, even with that being the max input that we got, we were able to charge it about a quarter of the final quarter of the way that it had to go in about 2 hours. So what can you run with this unit? Well, when we were camping, we mostly used this to charge things. We charged our cell phones, we charged our video equipment, we charged two-way radios, GMRS radios, and it never depleted the battery. And all the use, we went on a 5-day camping trip, we didn't deplete this battery using it for those type of things. You can charge laptops on this. You can run a mini fridge. Now, they say you can run a mini fridge. We did run our mini fridge out in the garage on this to test that out. Mr. Wicked Prepared does think that you could probably actually power our big fridge on it, but we haven't tried that yet. This unit does have a 3600 watt surge. That's pretty good. Now, when you power your fridge, if your power were out and you just wanted to avoid losing your food, your frozen refrigerated food, you really only have to run that fridge a few times a day for a little while just to keep the temperatures down in the safe level. So we'll do some more testing on that and definitely let you know. I do believe the larger units, you could probably run your fridge no problem. We did run a microwave on this. We tried it with a microwave, and this was just a basic microwave, and we were able to run the microwave. Something to note, if you're running a microwave on a unit like this, you can actually get an inverter microwave, which is a little bit better because you can run those on a lower power if you need to, and it will stay constant instead of running 100% power and then 50% or 25% to get those lower power levels. It stays constant at 50% power or 30% power or whatever that you set it at. I'll put a link in the description to an inverter microwave so you can go check it out and see what I'm talking about. I saw a video of one guy, and his whole emergency preparedness setup revolved around a couple of power stations like this one and all electrical appliances. He had, an electrical tea kettle. He had a hot plate. He had a microwave. He had backups for all of these things. He had all sorts of electrical appliances, and his plan was to run them off of his portable power stations that he was going to charge with solar panels. I thought that was interesting. It's not the way that I would prep. Like I said, you need to prepare to do without any of these things, but it was definitely an interesting way to do it. And if you have a portable power station like this, you could always store some things like that and plan to do that if you could. Just make sure that you have other ways to do it if that fails you. Now, Opus does have a whole list here right in their manual of things that you can run on this or charge on this and how long you can run them or how many times you can charge them. So that's pretty interesting. They call this mini cooler. It shows a mini fridge. We did run our mini fridge on it, no problem. Fans, that's definitely important. Wi-Fi and TV, those are not necessities, but they might be nice to have depending. CPAP machines, medical machines, things like that are going to be, this is where this is really going to be a must-have. If you have medical devices that you rely on, then you definitely want to have some sort of backup power to run those devices. Another thing that you could run on these are the 12-volt coolers that a lot of people use for camping. We have never had one of those, and we're actually planning on getting one. We've just seen enough people using them and realized that if you don't have to deal with the ice and melting ice and all your food soaking in water, that is a beautiful thing. And you would cut out so many pounds of extra weight if you're not bringing all that ice. So we're going to be getting one of those 12-volt coolers, at least one or two for our camping, and you can also use those for emergency preparedness because they would be able to be powered with a lot less power. So you could transfer your food into something like that if you wanted to save it. They have refrigerated and frozen compartments, some of them. They're really pretty slick. And I do love that this is something that we can use camping. That's one of the things that I really love about this unit. It's perfect for our camping trips because, as you know, if you've watched me for a while, you know that I am not a big fan of buying things for emergencies and putting them away only to be used in case of emergency. For so many reasons, I don't like that concept. You want to be familiar with the things that you are going to be using in an emergency. You want to make sure that they work. And honestly, I would rather have this unit and, 8 years down the road, it's spent and all I used it for was camping than to have had it put away for all that time and never once used it. If you don't have a severe emergency situation, I'd rather be using it on a semi-everyday basis. Obviously, we don't camp every day. We wouldn't be using this every day. But it is something that I really do like about this unit. It has other uses. You're never going to think of this as a waste of money, even if you don't find yourself in a situation where you have to use it for an emergency, if you're using it for other things. And then you're more likely to have it ready to go, have it charged up. You're familiar with how to use it. You know that it works. If you try something out and you're using it, then you're going to discover if you have a unit that's defective rather than discovering that at the moment that you have an emergency and you're relying on it and all of a sudden it doesn't work. I am a huge proponent of store what you use and use what you store. And this is definitely something that we will be able to use in our everyday life, not just in an emergency situation. Okay, so what are some of the negatives, some of the downfalls that I've noticed with this unit or that I've discovered in doing some research? Number one, these aren't stackable. Now, I know that's not the correct terminology. I don't mean physically stackable, but some of the fancier, more expensive units, you can actually piggyback more than one unit together to make a larger system. That's not possible with this Opus. I don't believe it's possible with any of the Opus units. But for us talking about it, what we decided would be ideal for us is we'd like to get a second unit like this, probably a little bit bigger, maybe the 1800 or the 2400. And that way we could have one charging while one was being used. And we thought that that would be an ideal system for us. You could use the same solar panels to charge both units. I believe the bigger Opus unit, at least the 2400, I believe can take at least 4 solar panels maybe, besides just the 2. But you could use the same solar panels to charge them if you were charging them at different times. So that's what we decided was going to be ideal for us. We're probably going to look into getting a second unit like this. The other downfall that I saw with these is this lithium iron phosphate battery. Even though it's really the top of the line, the most desirable type of battery, they don't charge in extreme cold. Like sub-zero temperatures, they're not going to charge. And for us living in Maine, that could be an issue. And so we're going to have to do some testing with that this winter and see what we can figure out. You could definitely probably use some sort of a heating pad that you could use with the unit to keep it a little bit warmer. And I think we could do something where the unit would actually be inside the house, the solar panels would be outside the house charging, and the cables could run in and keep the battery unit warm. So that might be an option. We'll definitely do some testing and trying things out with that this winter and see where we're at with that. Now, something to consider with these units that is not specific to the Opus, this would be with any type of unit like this, is that you do have to have your panels outside to charge them. I don't think you'd get enough sunlight inside your house to charge these panels. So you'd want to make sure that you are going to be able to have them secure so that someone couldn't steal them, especially if you're in a really serious SHTF kind of situation. You're going to want to make sure that you are keeping your prep secure from people who are going to want to take them from you. So when we were charging this, we had our panels right down by the garden. Mr. Wicked Prepared was in the garden working, so he was right there with the panels. So something like that would probably work. We also looked and found a few places around our house where we could put these panels on like a lower level roof that we could reach from an upper level of the house, and they would be up out of the reach of anyone and where we could keep a really close eye on them. That would also probably work well for the indoor-outdoor charging situation in the cold that I talked about. And if you have, you know, a fenced yard, some sort of secure area like that, you're just going to want to make sure that you're keeping your system secure from anyone who might try to steal it. Another thing that you're going to want to consider protecting your unit against would be an EMP. Now, we do have a video about EMPs if you want to check that out. I will link that up in the corner and down in the description box. But you definitely want to consider solar panels and solar generators are a little less susceptible to EMP damage than some things are, but you're definitely going to want to consider protecting your unit and all of the components and wiring and things like that in a Faraday cage or Faraday bag or some sort of EMP shield that you could use to protect it. So all in all, what do we think about the Opus? Honestly, we are really, really happy with this unit. This is a great little unit. It's really not even that little. This is a perfect unit and we are very happy with it. Like I said, we're considering adding another of the same brand because it's really a great brand, especially for a brand that's considered a little bit more budget friendly. So if you're looking to add some solar power to your preps to have this as a backup power option, I would definitely look into the Opus brand. Now we do have a coupon code that I'm going to put down on the screen and I will put that in the description box as well. It's prepared10 and that will take 10% off of your order. Anything site-wide except for the brand new 2400 generator. That code will work on Opus website, which I'll put the link to that also down in the description box as well. If you don't know how to find the video description, you just go down below the video, you see the title of the video, and to the right of it, you'll see a little down arrow. If you push that, it'll bring down the video description box. I've had some people who had a hard time finding that recently. So definitely go ahead and check out the Opus website and check out everything that they have to offer because they do have some really terrific units. But once again, if you can't afford a generator, a portable power station, if something like that is just not an option for you right now, don't despair. That's okay. There are plenty of other ways to be prepared. And in my opinion, generators of any type, gas generators, solar generators, they're all sort of a convenience item. They can definitely make your life that much more convenient in a short-term emergency, but we need to be prepared to live without them regardless. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a little bit. If you did, make sure to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me a lightning bolt emoji down in the comments. I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. We'll see you next time. When it all goes, Hannah. When it all goes, get out of here. When it all goes dark, will you have what you need to power your world?